Good afternoon, Africa. Good afternoon, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys. The message comes from a confession that I received, and one of our admins had to give us this translation. The message reads like this: How are you, my brother Nashi? I have a confession to make. I am a married woman, but I have a dark secret that I am keeping in my heart. The secret is that one of my child is not my husband's child. No one knows this dark secret except me. Even some of my closest family members, they don't know that I am keeping this dark secret from my husband. I am a woman with a 14-year-old child. So what happened to me is that I fell in love with my boyfriend. Me and my boyfriend, we met whilst we were in university. My boyfriend at that time was a good guy who was so much in love with me. Everything was going well at first. I was happy. You know that feeling of young love. But then my boyfriend disappointed me. I never knew that he was this kind of a guy. The issue that we were facing in our relationship was that this guy was so violent and he was treating me so bad and he was beating me up for no particular reason. I was so depressed. Violence was the only reason why we could not get along in this relationship. It was just a toxic relationship, but like they say, love is blind. Even though this guy was toxic, but I still loved him, and I thought that in the end he would be able to see that no matter how much he would beat me up, the reason why I was not reporting him to the police, it was because I loved him so much. But he never changed. So one day I sat down with him and I told him that I loved him and I didn't like what he was doing to me. But as I was speaking with my boyfriend, I quickly realized that this was just a lost cause. This guy was someone who was just an abuser, and my love for him could not change him, because I had tried and I had tried, but he had failed to listen to me. It seemed like I was just talking to myself. I wanted to break up with him, but with the anger issues that he had, I was so scared of breaking up with him. This guy was so cruel. So I thought of another plan. The plan was to cheat on my boyfriend. I thought of all the guys that claimed to love me, but finally, I was able to find someone. For many years, that guy at varsity, the guy was someone who was always bothering me to be his girlfriend. But as a woman in love, I had said no to him. But now, because of the pain and the stress and the abuse, I said to him, let us be friends, then we will see what will happen. And I started getting along with him. When I became friends with this guy, I quickly realized that he was such a caring guy. He was a very cool guy. If I tell him to bring me lunch or anything, whatever I wanted, he would do it for me and he would be quick about it. Officially, I was now cheating on my violent boyfriend. I was afraid of all the things that he would do to me if he were to find out about my new boyfriend. But this guy, my new guy, he had showed me the other side of love. He had treated me like a princess, and I was in love with my new boyfriend. What I used to do is that if I was going to be with my new Prince Charming, I would switch off my phone. But no matter how cautious I tried to be, it seemed like my violent boyfriend had spies all over the place who were watching me, because all of a sudden my violent boyfriend was now aware of my new relationship. One day I had gone out with my new boyfriend. I had a good time, but coming back when I was alone, I met my violent boyfriend. He was already waiting for me. He never spoke with me. He started to beat me up like no man's business, like he always does. He slapped me so much, asking me why I had been hanging up my phone the time that I was not with him. He violently screamed at me. He wanted to know the truth about what was going on in my life. I asked for a chance to explain myself, but when I saw that he had stopped hitting me, I saw an opportunity. Then I escaped. I ran away from him. In that moment, I had realized that if I don't run away right now, this guy was going to murder me because he had been giving me a real whipping. Whenever this guy would get angry, he didn't care if he hit me with a chair or anything that was close by. He would just take any object, then he would beat me up with that object that he would have picked up. After this incident, I was so much heartbroken. For many days, I just stayed in my room. I switched off my phone. I didn't want to be with anyone. The reason why I was crying like this, it was because of the pain of loving my violent boyfriend, but in return, he had just given me pain. I later started vomiting. That is when I realized that I was now pregnant. My life had just ended like that. I was pregnant for my violent boyfriend. When I looked at the dates, I saw that the dates were not corresponding with the dates that I had started sleeping with my new boyfriend, and it showed me that this pregnancy that I was carrying, it didn't belong to my new boyfriend. I was scared to tell my violent boyfriend because knowing him, he might deny this pregnancy and he might beat me. There were many times he had told me that I should have an abortion if I were to fall pregnant for him. I then planned to lie to my new boyfriend and to tell him that the baby that I was carrying was his baby. I spent almost a week thinking about what to do. I thought about getting rid of the pregnancy, but I knew so many girls that had died doing an abortion. I was scared that if I do an abortion, I might die. I told my new boyfriend about the pregnancy. He was so excited, and he said to me that he was going to inform his parents. Then, when his parents had given him a response, he was going to tell me so that we can have a clear picture of what we were supposed to do about the pregnancy. As I was speaking with my new boyfriend, the way that he was excited, I had already seen that this plan was going to work. So I dumped the idea of going over to my violent boyfriend's house to work out things with him. I agreed with everything that my new boyfriend was telling me. So he said to me that I should come over at his place so that me and him, we can stay as husband and wife. He was such a loving man. Whenever I would look at him, I would really see that my life was now going somewhere, because when I went over to his house, this guy, I quickly realized that he came from a very wealthy family. I was so happy. His money and his tender loving care, that was the reason why I had to lie to him that the pregnancy that I was carrying at the time, the child was his child. When my bride price was being paid, not even one person from my family even asked me if this child that I was carrying truly belonged to my husband or not. Everyone just thought that my current husband, the child, belongs to him. But I have been keeping this secret, my brother, for many years. This child, I am sure, and I am 100% sure that it doesn't belong to him, because when I calculated the dates, I saw that the dates do not correspond. After my current husband had paid for my bride price, then I said to him, now that I am a wife, we have to find another accommodation which will be separate from your parents. I cannot continue to live in your parents' house. The reason why I had said to him that I didn't want to stay at his parents' house anymore, it was because I was afraid that some of my friends, if they were to realize that I was now pregnant, maybe one of them was going to tell my violent boyfriend, and maybe he would also suspect that the pregnancy that I was carrying belonged to him. Then my current husband believed me when I told him that we had to plan our own separate lives apart from his parents. So we went to another city. Then we started to stay there. When we arrived in that city that I was now staying with my husband, I changed my phone and I pretended as if I had lost my SIM card. The reason why I just threw away my SIM card, I didn't want any of my former friends to contact me. I didn't want any risk at all. I could not let anyone know that I was pregnant, especially the people that I was attending varsity with. I didn't want them to know that I had fallen pregnant. I gave birth to my child, and I am so thankful for my husband's family because they have done great things for my child. The reason why my husband's family has done great things for my child, it is that they think that this child belongs to my husband, and they have already set my child for a great future. He has been taken to the best schools in the country, and for that I am grateful. I am afraid to let this secret out. I felt so guilty when me and my husband went to do this child's birth certificate. It felt so wrong, especially when I was using my husband's surname so that the birth certificate of this child can come out. But at that time, I had to do what I had to do. And also, I felt that I had to secure the future of my child because I knew that if my husband's family accept my child, he was going to have a secure future. And I thank them because they have taken my child to good schools. For that, I always say, may God bless them. Do I feel guilty about this dark secret that I have been keeping my brother? Not as such, because the way that I was being abused by my ex-boyfriend, it was not a good thing. Sometimes I sit down and I imagine if I had been married by my former boyfriend, what kind of a life was I going to live? Because if he was beating me up like that whilst I was his girlfriend, how much more was he going to abuse me when he knew that now I was desperate, I was pregnant for him and I was his wife? He was going to abuse me like no man's business. I am happy with the decision that I had to make. Sometimes in life, you have to make hard decisions, not because you are a bad person, but because of the situation that you would find yourself in. Dear listeners, right there was a translation of a confession that I received. Thanking one of our admins who gave us this translation, hoping that you were able to understand such a dark secret that she has been keeping. Let us speak with her in the comment section. I'll be back with more episodes.